You're welcome to the program. All right. Our topic once again is my mother-in-law. And we're going to dive right straight into what we have. I want to begin with Reverend Chris. Reverend Chris Newman. We're talking about the mother-in-law. Of course, we all know that the mother-in-law is the mother of the person you are married to, true or false? Okay. So I'd like to ask you my very first question. How was it when you met your mother-in-law? How did you feel? You know, there's this feeling you have when you meet somebody for the first time. Is that not so? So how was it? Was there any connection?
When I met my mother-in-law for the very first time, that was about 23 years ago, when I met her, there was no very strong connection. Maybe because my tribe background, precisely I'm an Uwe man. And there is this mindset of majority of people in Warrior and in Delta that the Uwe people are bigger people. So she already have that preconception that, oh, this young man coming around my daughter is an Uwe man. So there was no that strong emotional connection, between us. But I know that by virtue of my training as a pastor, I was convinced and persuaded beyond every reasonable doubt that I'm going to completely erode that idea from a mindset. So even though there was no very strong connection, but I found something I love around her. So I hung on because I know with time, she would definitely come to accept me as a very genuine and a different way man, as a son-in-law.
Thank you very much. I was having a conversation a short while ago with Mrs. Mildred, and I hope she's going to say that when I ask her our own question. And that's what Reverend Chris just said. You need to give some of these things time. Is that not so? The mother-in-law then had a mindset about Uwe people. Of course, a lot of us have a mindset about Uwe people. True or false? Is that not so? It's so, right? So, but with time, she changed her mind. All right. So I'd like to ask Mrs. Midra the same question. Yes. So what was the mindset? Was there any connection when you first met your mother-in-law to be? Now your mother-in-law.
Okay. When I first met my mother-in-law, I would say it was a friendly one because my mother-in-law was part of the chasing process.
Oh, really?
Yes. My mother-in-law and my husband are very close. And from my observation, when I evaluated the entire scene, I discovered my husband was the one that asked her to come and meet me. Yes. My husband, obviously, I've told her about me and how much he loves me. And I was kind of proving difficult at that time. So he had to persuade her to come meet me. So on the first day she came to my office from her workplace, and she came with her friend. You can imagine that kind of scenario. Said, my daughter, I've come to see you. I said, Mama, am I okay? She said, yes. He said, I like you. I've heard a lot about you, though I've not seen you, but my son has spoken a lot about you, and I want you in my family. And I said, Mama, I can't say a yes or no to that. This is a first visit. So we just talked and we played and we laughed, and that was it. She left. So it really got me thinking like, this woman must be a very nice person. And I think that these two persons are connected. So I just took it like that for that time. I didn't want to conclude anyway.
Thank you very much. I thought we'll applaud her. So it was actually your mother-in-law that did the toasting, right? Is that if I must marry so-and-so or whoever I must get married to, the mother must be dead. Right? Is anybody familiar with that? I don't want to have a mother-in-law. She must be dead. Because there's this mindset already that mother-in-laws are troublesome, right? So I want to ask you, Mr. Sylvester, how was it for you when you first met your mother-in-law or mother-in-law to be? at that time?
Well, for me, it was, how will I put it? Okay, so my wife, then my girlfriend, she had prepped my mind to meeting my mother-in-law, because I met my mother-in-law first before I met my father-in-law. And my father-in-law was at work. And my mother-in-law has this face. It's a very straight face. Like, so when I got to the house, I first asked my wife to be then, where do I sit down? Because I had to juggle seats. So I'll sit down here and I'll sit down and I'll like, if this woman comes and sees me here like this, so I'll move to the other seat. So I did that for like 5 minutes. When she came out, she had that face. She doesn't laugh. So she's just looking at you like. So I said, good afternoon, ma. She said, how are you? I said, I'm fine, ma. Well, she's a very nice person though. But the first time, I was scared though. I was like, all these people, they had nice first experiences that I sat down and this kind of thing where you arrange yourself, you peeve yourself, you enter another element that you've never entered before. Everything was yes ma, oh yes ma, yes ma. But as time went on, she's really nice. We don't do all that again. But it was quite scary for me the first time. But the first it.
Thank you very much. I've actually met some young men and they had the same experience, when they're so scared of their mother-in-law or father-in-law to be. And sometimes eventually you discover that there's no cause for fear. So to be here with you again, this circle of the castrates. You don't actually do the other mission. Simple say the causes we got me really sure. We've shown to be in here. What do you say? Yay, let us see. Yes. Either for this here, Amas, what is that? The God of face you think you, but here I am glad. You must stop and that meet Sable. People want to be in there. So a lot of shinters. Then in mother tired with her. I don't forget cheese. My mother-in-law is here. Speak. Because you're not the pal. Oh. First of all, I begin look at it. I was I said so and told me. But the stars I the fish give it us. So very there yeah body. By the video so other parts I was watching lots just I was it to and was got this decide she look but I was giving that attack between that by but as bio I did get to this you should so is so let's take it to that and also the fine wall that doesn't sound so funny this crisis things does not this is to me a lot easy to pay maybe the push back the school what is it better beach and this is fast up to on an is when I lay a boy see continuous the is at Jishi to say oh as to my son the cost to the joke there was this very fine very soon as is the omile fuma yep G called God quite small my power was a jet solely so I speak oh take real just soon since the way if he's lower you can me what that to say is that was to your boo I did it by ish spoon up I was kissing and complain words there's his pay to dear I was was thank you very much then I kiss Jebba is his old to basket Pop when they love the example it is important, yeah, so
That is how is to say the
Rimbi. Isn't but a lot about specialities.
Eh? Yes. Very comparable. She's a very sort of expressive. And over times have I observed Sheba's water fakey. So whilst doing that, she keeps age to herself. And is very different with the rest. Why I say us? Because that I ain't gonna say nice. Fine, but that's all was I do it and all that. So what he talks about ourselves, and what I often do in such situations, I tell another ladies I really issue the patient and because try to understand personality, what she want at that particular time. But when she offers her show is so much. She also saw the I don't really know how to pity. There you see it everything there. So you may not have any trust between her. The person that you do faster. So it's very important to us to the design that you don't need as a maybe be a virtual time of personality. Although to design 16, issues and this practice our class and then there's everything okay. Go down already. But she's part of you, she's a traitor. Only noise for there. What we know. They but you can stay and basket she say. She don't. And sorry, she walked there and they take you so. When I had to go, get suggestions of this. Thank you very much. Praise the Lord, Derek.
So you talked about your mother-in-law that is an action woman. You talked about your mother-in-law that is a soft-spoken person. And then if she has issues, rather than speak to you, she would rather speak to her son. Now, a situation whereby you have a mother-in-law that is, you try to do everything. Reverend Chris, this is coming to you. May not necessarily be your mother-in-law's kind of person, but let's just talk about it. You have a mother-in-law that you do everything to please, and yet she refused to be pleased. There's this scenario of a mother-in-law that visited a home, and in order to make her comfortable, the daughter-in-law prepared food and made sure there was a lot of meat in the soup. And you know what the mama said? They're wasting all this money, wasting my son's money to cook all of this meat. Please, you people take some meat out so that I'll find somewhere to put my eba. You understand that kind of a thing. So how do you help a daughter-in-law? We'll come to sons-in-laws. How do you help a daughter-in-law in that situation?
I think for me, the only way to help such a daughter-in-law, you see, the beginning point of relationship matters a lot.
That's right.
Because it's important that you know the kind of family that you want to get into. It's important you know that you have to know their philosophy, the way they do things. There are some family, they have a very strong bond from the beginning. And it is possible that you, the woman, may be coming from a very parallel background. So, of course, if you are coming to that home, their platform of acceptance is different from yours because you are coming from two different backgrounds. So you need to understand the body language. For instance, the example you gave, there are many ways of passing the message across to somebody. If you look at what you said, she meant well. Maybe she's the kind of woman that is very conservative. She wants to ensure that the weight of her son is thoroughly and properly managed. And that's the best way she feels she can communicate it. So for me, if you are a daughter-in-law, she'll be able to pick that message. She'll be able to know.
Sorry, let me interrupt you here.
Yeah.
She feels that she will please mama. No. You understand?
Yeah, by doing that.
I remember a situation whereby, okay, it happened to me. Before you continue, let me say that I do not have a mother-in-law. She passed before I married my husband, right? But he has relatives. He has sisters. There was this particular day, a distant relative came. In fact, I was seeing her for the first time. And she came. And then I told my girl, we put food together, gave her food. When she was done, she called me and I called my girl and said, I need more meat. I like meat. I like a lot of meat. You understand? So she came to me and said, this woman is asking for more meat. I said, give to her. This may be the last time you'll see her. She doesn't come all the time.
Exactly.
Do you understand? So in a situation like that, compared to what you're saying, she's asking for more meat. And then this other example I gave, the person said the meat was too much.
Exactly. So at the overall is that you need to understand the psychology of the two persons.
Okay.
Okay. One, as a matter of dynamism to being able to bridge that gap, there are some mother-in-laws, you have to take them for who they are. You can't change them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't change them. So if you know that that's the kind of mother-in-law you have, and she's always critical, even if you improve on what you said the previous day, you're trying to do something better, she may still find something that is negative. So it's a nature, it's a person. So what you got to do as a daughter-in-law, take her for who she is. Love her for that personality, and you will be at peace.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Sylvester, this question is coming to you.
You know, like she said, Mrs. Mildred, there are a lot of mother-in-laws that are glued to their sons, right? They're glued to their sons. And as a wife, sometimes you're seen as an intruder. So how will she manage a situation like that?
Okay, so I'm going to pick up from where Reverend Newman stopped. Now, what do we need to understand is that the mindset that drives the relationship between a man and his mother-in-law is different from the situation that drives a daughter and a mother-in-law, right? Now, the first thing you need to understand is that most times the man's mother has a higher or an upper hand in the marriage compared to the mother's mother. Why? Because the wife is coming to marry the husband. So most times the mothers of men are more protective because you are coming in to take things or a place that I want to occupy. It's different for a woman, except, and I'm going to come from a perspective of probably finance and love and other things, except probably, although it happens where you see a man who is marrying a woman who is higher than him in terms of hierarchy of life, in terms of what she brings. But generally, I think that when it comes to, let me use my wife as an example, right? I think it is my duty as a man to draw the boundary. That is why I say that the relationship between a man and his mother-in-law is different from the relationship between a wife and her mother-in-law. Why? Because I am a man. A woman cannot draw the line. A man can for his wife, right? So if a woman tries to draw the boundary, the mother-in-law sees it as disrespect. But if a man talks to his mother and says, "Mommy, I cannot let you do this to my wife," then the boundary is drawn and then she cannot do anything to the wife. So most times this problem of mother-in-laws is actually very easy to solve. If the man can take a stance and say, "You cannot do this, both for the wife and the mother and his mother." So most times when you have this conflict, it is because the man has refused to take a side, not necessarily take a side, but to draw the line and say, this will not happen. You will respect my mother, you respect my wife. Most times you see the man tilting towards his wife or towards his mother. And then you find one party saying, "So you love your mother more than me, or you love your wife more than me." And that is where the conflict, because they now start dragging for your love. Or you gave your wife money, you didn't give me a B. So you must find a way to strike that balance. If not, your house will catch fire. Like
Yes.
the fellow. So that's it.
Please, let's applaud him. I'm sure a lot of our men are listening to this because this is very, very important. Some time ago, a couple came to our house and then there were issues between the mother, the mother-in-law and the son and the siblings, right? And then this young man, according to my husband, he said he's no wise, and that's the truth. The young man said straight to the mother's face, "Anybody that is against my wife is against me." The mother was there. The siblings were there. And automatically everybody became the lady's enemy. And the lady was excited. She was excited that the husband was saying, "Anybody that is my wife's enemy is my enemy." So I feel, or that is what should be. As a man, you should be able to what? To draw the line. You don't want to be there and your mother is abusing your wife. or your wife is disrespecting your mother. Pastor Nome, I'd like you to add to this. What do you have to say?
Me, what has helped me over the years, like I told you, I won't pretend we didn't have issues.
Of course.
At first, when we started having issues, now just look at my own picture. I'm in a church, a pastor's wife in a church. My mother-in-law is also here. And I discovered that there were some persons that could go to her and whisper things to her right here.
So she had loyalists.
Do you understand how loyalists? Not really, I was just coming in.
Oh, okay.
So we noticed that, we picked that on time. The truth is, as a wife, I think as you enter into a family, I know in courtship, we might not be able to talk about it because of all the lovey-loveys, all the side attractions. But it is important that as a wife, you understand the environment you are going into. You understand the kind of person you will be dealing with beside your husband. Do you understand? I think it will help a great deal to manage issues. When I came in, I was, like I told you, I had an open mind. And so when I started getting reactions, I discovered that somebody could come to meet me and say, why are you sitting down? Why are you not doing anything? Are you not Gio's wife? Do you understand? The same circle of persons were also going to whisper to her, Mama, you will sit down here. You will allow this one with tiny legs. I'm telling you, real life situation. You will allow these tiny legs that just came in to come and take over. Do you understand? So when we discovered, because it was in the course of our conversations that we discovered that whispering was going on here and here, I did something. I shut down from every other person. And I withdrew back and I was behind my husband. And I said, when it's time for me to come in, you will lead me to come in. Do you understand? And I pledged my loyalty to Mama. Do you understand? So for years, I was seated. People were like, what are you doing? You are a failure. I didn't answer anybody. I was just quiet until it was the time they said, okay, both of them said, oh yeah, come up. You understand? And that was when I actually came in. Why am I saying this? That it was just a particular scenario. Now, if I had come in and I had to flex muscle, no man will celebrate his wife fighting with the mother.
Correct.
No man. Just don't bother. Do you understand? Don't bother it. So you must learn ways to manage the situation. If there's going to be a problem, if there's a problem coming out, let it not be that it is you that is pushing. If your husband even discovered that Mama is oppressing you, let him discover it by himself or through others, not through you. Is it that you are pretending? No. As much as possible, you can keep. For me, I kept an open mind. When Mama talks, I smiled. I said, Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was like this. And you guys, and I leave it at that. Until such a time, we were able to blend and we're able to overcome some of all these challenges that faced us. Do you understand? So that's my own answer to this. I wouldn't take sides. I wouldn't run to my husband to say, have you seen what Mama has done now? Because the few times I did, there was issues.
Okay, there were times you reported.
Yes, when I did, full-blooded, and I just came in. Any little thing, Oni, my husband will say, yes. Do you understand? My marriage did this. I discovered I was putting my husband under undue pressure. So that's why I said I shut down and I went behind him. And anything I was seeing, I was laughing about it and playing around it. I will go to her, I will make my explanations, and I will leave it at that until we now discovered the little folks that we discovered. If we were not talking, if I didn't shut down, if I wanted to claim my right, you understand, I will get to that. We won't get to that. Do you understand? So issues like that, beyond the man protecting you, you also must be able to develop the ability to manage situations as you see them and be open-minded about it. To say, if it was my mother, will I be offended? Will I walk away? Will I disrespect her? I wouldn't. I would discuss with her. That's my technique that I used to overcome those situations. Thank you.
I thought to applaud Ms. Zanome that there were times she reports, because that was the next question I was going to ask. Funny enough, I'm just looking at my phone. I'm asking all of these questions from my head. I've never asked any question from here, right? Because sometimes we blame the mother-in-law. Mother-in-law did this. You as a daughter-in-law, have you offended mama in any way? You understand? So for you to go and report mama to your husband wasn't a good thing, right? But thank God you learned about it and then you adjusted, you made some adjustments. So I'd like to ask you, Reverend Chris, I believe that sometimes some of the problems we have in the home between mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws is as a result of the son feeding mama with information. There are issues that should be private between the husband and the wife. But we have husbands, I'm sorry to say, that are still babies. Everything that happens, a third party must hear. I must tell my mother. And do you think that could be one of the reasons there are problems between mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws and vice versa?
Yeah.
Maybe a daughter-in-law reports everything to the mother and then the mother has problem with the son-in-law.
Yeah, I think to a large extent, that's a major cause of such kind of beef between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. Because when we come into marriage relationship, we're supposed to keep our secrets to ourselves. We're supposed to live together as husband and wife and ensure that we are able to manage our weaknesses, manage our strength together. And if peradventure there is need for us to confide with a third party, we always suggest that it is better you confide with your pastor, because your pastor will not stand for any of the party. It will stand for the marriage, to see that the marriage would work. But there's always a tendency that if you confide with mother-in-law or even father-in-law, that tendency to defend my own will be inevitable. That tendency will always be there, no matter how, even if the lady is the one that is right, the mother-in-law will have a technique, a way of trying to be defensive, to put the son in the right mind or in the right concept. So for me, if any couple into a relationship, they should keep their secret to themselves. But however, there are some also mother-in-law who are very intruding. They are very intruding in the name that I am consigned. But don't be too concerned for your son-in-law, mother, the wife, because the wife now is the immediate mother to take care of your son. So sometimes when you have a mother-in-law that is too over intruding, this is where I want to consent again to what my fellow panelists said, that the man should strike the balance. That even though your mother is very possessive, she loves you so much, she wants to show concern for the family, but she should know a boundary. In relationship, there are boundaries. Mike Murdoch said you can't love everybody the same. The love for a mother and a son is different. The love for a husband and a wife is different. The love for a father, for a daughter is different. So they must be able to strike that boundary so that mama will not be going above a boundary. She should be able to know a boundary. And to do that is the responsibility of the man.
Can I add something to that, just quickly? I want to paint a picture on this particular question. So you see, the tendency for a mother-in-law to defend her daughter,
she has sacrificed so much to leave her father, leave her mother, and to change her name, to bear the name of the family. So if the mother-in-law wanted to be very possessive and caring, it should shower more of her love to the daughter-in-law. And that's the only way she can make her son to be happy. You cannot make your son to be happy by offending the wife always, or in the bid that you want to protect your look. My criteria of my success in marriage is that my family should look at my happiness. If my wife has made me happy, they should be very happy. She hasn't hurt me. She hasn't done anything to me that I'll ever come to the family one day and say, I'm not happy. So their judgment, their evaluation for my doing well in the marriage should be my happiness, not what they want. So if I'm happy in my marriage, my mother should know that my wife is treating me well. And if you want to show any concern, to shower a concern towards the wife that is making the man to be what? To be happy.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. The truth is, all of these things we're talking about, to a very large extent, depends on the man. We've talked about that before. To a very, very large extent, the man should be able to draw a line. Because if you leave things flat, the mother-in-law will come in and control. And as a husband and wife, like Mr. Sylvester said, you should have one mind, do your things together. One of the things I decided in my home is that, of course, nobody will tell you anywhere that they don't have issues as husband and wife. But myself and my husband, we made up our mind that he doesn't leave the bedroom. Our children doesn't even know. The early part of our marriage, if there were challenges, we'll come out and smile. You will never, not even the children, nobody will ever know. And I want to share this experience before I come to you, Miss Mildred. I remember some time ago, many years ago, my husband's elder sister, she was old then, came to the house. She stayed. She had her children everywhere. Her children couldn't keep her. They stayed with her for some time. Eventually, she came to her brother's house. And she was with me for 6 months. And after some time, my husband saw some things he wasn't comfortable with and he wanted her to leave. And they knew because there was a boundary, there was a line. Do you understand? She came to me and said, speak to your husband to let me stay. Now, she could only say that because she knew that somehow, it is what I want. Do you understand? But I do not have to do it obviously. Mama, it's not in my power. My husband has told me already that he wants her to leave and he explained his reasons. Do you understand? I'll go to her, I'll pet her and speak to her. Talk to your husband to let me stay. Mama, it's not in my power. She knew that if I had said she should stay, she would stay. Do you understand? But I know this is what my husband wants. What am I trying to say? I also remember many years ago when I was pregnant of my first child, my husband's elder sister was around. His younger sister was around. They didn't go to the pot. We were not at home. We were in church. That was because that was what my husband set in place. Some mother-in-law come to your house and straight to the kitchen. It is not supposed to be so. He made them understand that this is my wife's kitchen. Somebody with me. So I'm emphasizing this because of our men. Some daughter-in-laws go through a lot of troubles in the hands of mother-in-laws because of their husbands. You have to set a boundary. And on my part, I had to be wise. I had to be understanding. I got back home that day and said, Mama, you people have not eaten. You people have not eaten. But in my house, don't go to my pot. Are you with me? But I have to put up a drama. I know this is on social media. It doesn't matter. That's the truth. It is clear that this is my pot. You shouldn't go to my pot. But you shouldn't just keep it straight. You came back home and they've not eaten. They are sitting and waiting for you. You should do something. Mama, you have not eaten. You should have eaten. You shouldn't have waited for me. But I knew I didn't want them to go to the pot. But after some time, there was this liberty for them to go to the pot. Do you understand? And I permitted it. So I want to ask you, Miss Mildred, how has your relationship with your mother-in-law evolved over time?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I go further to answer that question, I would like to say a word concerning the past scenario. Now, we're talking about mother-in-laws intruding into our marriages. Sometimes mother-in-laws don't want to intrude, but we make them intrude as daughter-in-laws. For example, I have a mother-in-law that is very neat. And, that kind of a neat person, you need to be extra. Before I got married to my husband, he told me my mother-in-law is a very neat person. Up to your nails, she will check your nails, she'll check your toes, she'll check everything about you. Now you have that kind of person coming to your house, or she informs you that I'm coming to visit for some time. And you are a scattered person. You wake up by 6 a.m. when you know your mother-in-law is going to be up by 4:35 because she's a teacher. So in a scenario like that, she comes to your home and your home is dirty, no hygiene. There's supposed to be breakfast or lunch or dinner and there's no food. Automatically, you have self-reported the issue. You have reported the issue. So it will not be out of place for that mother-in-law to ask questions. Because I speak for myself. My mother-in-law is very strict. She's a retired teacher. So I take her as my own mother. Even when she doesn't speak, her appearance, her body language shows she's not happy. So there's no fight there. You are wrong. And there's no boundaries there. There's no boundaries there because somehow, whatever you sow, you are going to reap. Tomorrow, you are going to become a mother-in-law.
Definitely.
So you see things going haphazard and you can't just say a thing because, there's a boundary here. I should not cross. I should not do this. This woman will come she will not sweep, she will not feed the children, she will not bathe them. What kind of a life is that? I think there are exceptions to every rule. There are exceptions. When something is going this way and it ought to be like this, it has to be put in place. But the way and manner is also very important for mother-in-laws. How you put these things, how you project your point to your daughter-in-laws. Very important. Now, coming back to your question that says how has the relationship evolved over time? Okay, I said she's a very conservative and reserved person. She's not expressive. But I discovered I had a lot of work to do to make her comfortable. Because for me personally, if I want to do things, I try to put myself in that position. And to the glory of God, I have boys too, as my mom-in-law, and they are still going to get married. Sometimes I imagine, how am I going to take it that one girl, I do that imagination, like I think, like one girl, all these years I've been spending training these children. Sit here, have you done your homework? Hey, I want to buy clothes. Then one girl from nowhere will just come and just take her away. It's heartbreaking. It's not easy for these mother-in-laws as well. So we need to give them some slack. When they make mistakes, we need to just take it and move on. Initially, my mother-in-law will not say anything. Even when she's angry, she won't say anything. She will go on and she will discuss with her son. So I will tell Mama, take it easy. I'm sorry. This thing that I didn't know I offended you. Please, I'm sorry. She will just say, okay. But I don't stop there, because that okay, it may not have left her heart. So I have to walk around it to see that that thing is solved and ensure that it doesn't happen again. Because when she's not happy, her son too is not happy. That's the way it works. And over time, we've grown to become friends now, even though she's not very active, but we are friends. She calls me, how are you doing? How are the children? And all of that. So it's a matter of patience. It's patience. We have to be patient. Some of us as women, we just jump into things. We conclude about people. Personality is a mask. You can't just see somebody for the first time and say this person is bad. No. She can even be bad to other mates. She may not like them, probably because of the way they behave. But you come with the right mindset, as Mama said. Be open-minded. And he talked about your mindset as well. Be open-minded. Have an open mind. Be positive. Now, I'm coming to this marriage with a positive mind. I'm not going to have, my mother-in-law is not going to be wicked to me. My mother-in-law is going to be the best mother-in-law, and I'm going to be the best daughter-in-law to her. And you find that it's not as if you will not quarrel or you will not have issues or that. But with time, patiently wait. And you find out that your relationship will improve. That is how it has been for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, that is very important for us daughter-in-laws, right? Like I told you in my case, I don't have a mother-in-law, but I have people I call mother-in-laws, right? When my husband's younger sister comes, I see her as my mother-in-law and I introduce her to everybody. This is my mother-in-law. And I treat her thus. The relationship is beautiful, right? So like she said, we have to be what? Patient. Generally, aside from the fact that we're talking about the mother-in-law, generally, everybody you deal with, you should be patient with people. And then we would lead better lives and have more peaceful marriages. I think I want to stop the questioning here so that we can take questions from the audience. Do we have questions in the audience?
Obo, known as Bishop. And my contribution is regarding the relationship between the daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law. Now, any problem like what one of the panelists said, it's the husband is actually the one that can draw the line. And when the husband is drawing the line, he should not draw in the parents of the mother and the wife. That will cause big problem.
How do you mean?
Now, for instance, if the mother-in-law, the mother is there and the wife is there and something happened, I say the husband will now face the mother. I said, don't talk to my mother like that. Don't do it. You can just look at them sometimes, and behind you talk to the wife, behind you talk to the mother. So that this will say side me, side me. So it will stop that. What I did in my I don't have a mother, and my wife was not having a mother. I married from Akwa Ibom. When I went to tell my father that I'm going to marry an Akwa Ibom woman, he shouted, "Hey, Akwa Ibom, from Warri to Akwa Ibom, that side." Already, know that my father said that he doesn't like it, but the language has told me something that is not very comfortable with the idea. Even my elder brother said, so no woman for Delta State, you won't cross how many rivers they go Akwa Ibom. Are you getting me? So what I was doing, and I never knew that my wife was doing it. Anytime I visited my father, then it was a lie. I will give him money, and I will say, this money is from my wife. I never knew that my wife was even giving money to her people. I said, my husband said I should give you. It just said that I found out too. And I never told my wife what I was doing. If my wife visited my dad, he will bless him. But anytime I visit the money I will give to my dad, I will say this for my wife. So it got to a stage, my wife became the best daughter-in-law.
I think we'll applaud him for that.
This was the person that my father complained that, you they go acquire, but they go marry. So there are many ways the husband can resolve issue, even without saying anything, without even telling the father anything. Just like this. Who don't like money? As money they come, the father go relax. Are you getting me? So you can do that. And if there is conflict, the mother is always complaining. There's a way you can say, my wife say I should give you this. Even the wife did not know. When the husband, the mother sees the wife, say, thank you. The wife is only a mama and a small thing. That's how you can do it. Another thing again, Timothy was, Apostle Paul was talking to Timothy. I think there's something daughters-in-law. I know it's not easy. So mothers-in-law are very difficult. I know that. Apostle Paul was talking to Timothy. He said, try your best to live a godly life. Now, I said that to say that it is in the honors of the daughter-in-law to love the mother-in-law, irrespective of what is happening. Irrespective. So mothers are very difficult, but just take her like that. It means that we learn godliness. We learn it. Not be pastor go shook for your body. You on your own, you can learn godliness. So as a daughter-in-law, you will discipline yourself and learn how to deal with people. Like what you said, Reverend. You said that to everybody, you can, I was telling somebody today, you are honorable when you honor people, whether they have money or not, whether they respect you or not. You become honorable. That is when you are honorable because they are human. So you respect them. So I'm just saying this to tell us that the daughter-in-law has a lot of job to do. So mother-in-law will never call daughter-in-law and sit there and advise. Like somebody said, somebody that have groomed the child from day one till almost 30, 35, 20 something, you just come and want to scoop the son away from. No, she will fight and fight. She will keep fighting. Wait, sometimes the fight is up to. You don't even know she's fighting. All those other things that are withdrawn, now they fight pass. Those ones that are very reserved, they will fight you. You will not know. So please, sometimes don't let us try our best. Now my question will be this.
Oh, you have a question?
Yes. I remember the first edition. I asked this question and Pastor Vero Robo partially answered it. The reason why this share sheet is because there was more people were still talking. Now the question is, I have noticed, she said, interpret, give the love language of your spouse to her. Love language, they change you. Oh, Jesus. It changes. After you have done this one, you do this one that you have done, this love language you have exhibited, you have displayed to her, it will not change again. You say, no,
You also change. You change too now.
no, the thing is, my question is that please, I want the 4 panelists to answer it. But can you please, woman, can you please this woman? It's a big question.
It's my mother-in-law.
I know. Now, mother-in-law that oh, please, hey, if the daughter-in-law like the son, you go like the mother too now. How can a man, sorry that this is a little digression, I think it's necessary.
Yeah.
How can a man please his spouse? What way, apart from love language? Sometimes you have displayed the 4 language, you don't finish, you don't know what you want to. How can they now please? Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Before we come to that, there was something you said about a mother-in-law having invested. Miss Mildred also said that having invested time, invested resources, especially for mother-in-laws who raised their sons alone by themselves. After all of those investments, you as a lady, you came and then you want to snatch the son away from the mother. Of course, there's going to be a fight. So in such situations, generally, daughter-in-laws find a way to love your mother-in-law, find a way to befriend your mother-in-law. But somebody said it doesn't always work. And if it doesn't work, just be patient with her, like you said. Whatever it is she does, she's still your mother-in-law. You cannot have 2 mother-in-laws. So whatever she does, just love her anyway. So that's on that. And then the second one, for me, it is very easy to please a woman. I don't know. We'll talk about it. I'll give them the opportunity to speak. But for me, it's not difficult to please a woman. Reverend Chris, you have something to say? You are a man. Is it difficult to please your wife?
I think it's not difficult to please your wife because you just need to know your wife. Just try to know your wife. If you truly study to know your wife, you will know how to please her. It's simple. Because our various love language in relationship is different from one person. Okay, for instance, there was a day I was asking my wife, if I want to take you out for a show, for outing, which one will you prefer? He said, give me the money. That's what she said. He said, oh, those who are going to shop right, hang around. She is not that kind of person. So if you so wish that you want to have some time to have fun fair, calculate the cost of what you are going to pay and give me the cash. So once you give me the cash, I'm okay with that. So if I want to go extra after giving her the cash, I still want to take her. That's become an addition. So that's what it takes. Yes, take time to know your wife, because if you don't know your wife, you'll always find it difficult to please her. I think that's my contribution.
Okay, let me go to Mr. Sylvester before we come to you, Miss Mildred.
Okay.
I'm still saying that it's not difficult to please a woman.
Okay, for me as a person, before I answer the how to please your wife, there was something he said, and you also said so. But I wanted to talk about your example before he spoke. So you gave an example of a man who said he was telling his mother-in-law and his sister that if you don't love me,
He was telling his mother,
anybody
that is against my wife is against me.
and the wife was there, right?
The wife was there.
And you
She
said
said,
the wife was now. Just like he said, that's a very problematic and unwise thing to do. So first of all, I think before you get into marriage, the first thing you pray for as a man is wisdom, so that you don't open your mouth anyhow and cause problem for yourself. It makes no sense for you to tell your mother something in front of your wife, So I support the where you have to tell them individually. Take your mother aside and say, "Mommy, I don't like this thing. Please stop it." You take your wife to the other side. I've resolved such a conflict before in my own home, may you understand, but that was a long time ago, right? As for pleasing women, women are complex, my brother. Women are complex. I understand what he's saying. Women are complex. They are not as easy or...
That's his opinion.
Yeah, that's my opinion. That's my personal opinion. They're not like one size fits all. A man is just like a man's own, do this, and he's okay. A woman can tell you today that she wants to drive a Venza. And when you're about to buy the Venza, she'll tell you she doesn't want the Venza anymore, that she wants something else. And you have just finished arranging Venza. She'll tell you, no, this Venza, I just saw something else. So women are very fluid. What I advise basically is, just like Reverend Newman said, just study your wife as your partner. And then I don't think you can please a woman completely. I don't think so. I don't know. Anybody can. That's my own personal. I don't think can do it 100% because of the fluidity of their nature. Because just like he said, love languages change as they grow older. So they might have loved flowers at the beginning, but they will not love flowers in 5 years' time. If you give them flower, they will look at you like this. They don't want the flower at that time, but they want money at that time. Right? So there's the fluidity of them changing. So the man should be wise enough to know that at every stage, he too should grow. So that is why in marriage there's growth. So you watch you grow. Because the truth about it is that, let me even say this, when you get married as a man, most times, I can use a statistics of 8% of men don't have money. Let me just use the Nigeria scenario. Or let me say 70% of men who get married, they're not really financially buoyant. So now understand that the one married you with, let me tell you how women marry. Because some men don't know women marry with foresight. So if you don't have, they must believe that you will have. That is why they can take the sacrifice to marry you. It's not what you told them. It's that they've looked at you and you embody somebody that can become. So they will now stay with you and work it out with you based on the fact that they believe that you can become.
That's a lot of sacrifice on the part.
That's a sacrifice I'm saying. So if they marry you at that point in time that you didn't have, and flour is what you were giving them, when you have, you cannot give them flour. Because they married you with the belief that a time will come where flour will not be what you will give them. So at every point in time, there's fluidity in their thoughts. Women, that's what I was talking about women. There's fluidity in their thoughts. So you as a man, as you grow, understand that things will change. Because the woman too will change. I think I can stop there for
All right. So that we can save some time. Can I say something? Okay, maybe very briefly, so that we can save some time. I think we still have some more questions, but let us say something quickly.
I would like to say communication.
Right.
Communication. Some of us as women, even men, we don't communicate. That's the major problem in every relationship. You must learn to communicate. And I'm not saying non-verbal, verbal talks.
That's right.
Non-verbal. Women oftentimes, when they are angry, they'll carry face like this, do like this, do like.
They expect you to understand as a man.
The man is not
a prophet or it's not a spirit.
Some men, they can even pretend that like they are not seeing it. When it becomes too much, you have to learn to talk. I listened to Pastor Mildred and Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo, and he said something. He said there was a time that the wife was just, when they first got married, when something is wrong, she will not talk. She'll just be carrying face for days. So he too, he doesn't even know the wife is angry or something is wrong. So he will go to his corner and be praying, speaking in tongues, studying the word of God. Then the woman will say, so you didn't know I was angry all this while? You know what Pastor Kingsley said? He said, I thought you were being very spiritual. Because you fail to express yourself. So she said she learned how to talk to her husband. If you want a car, you know your husband has the capacity to buy you a car. Tell him. Tell him. Even whilst having sex, you want something a particular way, tell him. You keep your mouth shut. You are hurrying face. You are doing this. He's not a prophet. He's not a prophet. And sometimes we as women, we need to project these things before the men. You project what you want. For example, I have meetings with my husband. I can make it very official just to make fun. I can say, babe, we're going to have a meeting so time. Say, hey, waiting to happen. No, waiting I do again. Because he knows when I call for a meeting, there are things that we need to talk about. Or probably there's something I want that you are not giving to me. So these are avenues you should talk. Your husband should be your friend. Your wife should be your friend. Learn to talk. The problems we have, we don't talk. We keep things so much in our heart. Marriage is not supposed to be very difficult. It's not supposed to be very difficult. For example, when my husband is around, I like him to drive me. Not because I cannot drive myself. I want him to drive me because I know once we are on the road, we'll be gisting, we'll be talking. Babe, how you see this thing? And it helps to feel and ignite passion, communication. When you are very close to someone, when you talk to someone, oftentimes, automatically that person becomes your very close friend. And it's difficult. When you quarrel, you make up easily. Rather than just keep things to yourself as women, you are just there, keeping everything, and it shortens your lifespan. Thank you.
All right, please. I'm really sorry. This is the title of this meeting or this show is My Mother-in-Law. So we're deviating from the topic to something else. Okay. Pastor Nome, let me just take that question, then I will give you. Do we have any other question? Let me just count. We have a lot of people. Oh, Jesus. We'll take just that 4, and I hope we don't spend too much time on it. Please help me pass the microphone over to her. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Please, I came late and I decided to come for this show. I saw it before I traveled. What brought me here now is my elder sister's mother-in-law. I'm just coming from Port Harcourt. She called me on Monday that she'll come. So I decided to go to Port Harcourt. Getting to her house, her mother-in-law is there with her 2 sisters. Her 2 other elder sisters are there with them. So when I go there, the mother-in-law said, "Why did you call your sister?" She said, "My sister just came to visit." She blinked me eye and understand what happened. So later on, I heard the mother-in-law with the 2 daughters discussing who will beat her and join her sister. Who will beat her and join her sister. And I went to my sister. I said, "You didn't tell me what happened. I just came in. I heard your mother-in-law and the 2 daughters discuss that they will beat me and join you. What happened?" She said, "My sister want to divorce." I said, "Wait first. Let me hear from your husband." So the husband was washing his car. I went downstairs and met her. I said, "Uncle, what happened? I heard your mother discussing that they are going to beat me and join your wife." She said, "My sister, my mom just came in. Immediately she came in, said my sister should leave the house. You don't want him to marry my sister again." I said, "What happened? What really? I've just opened up." She said that my sister don't supposed to have children for him. That she has somebody that she's supposed to marry. She prepared that for him, and now his son came to marry my sister. That therefore this is the year that he gave my sister to last in the house, that she wants my sister to leave. That was why they came to beat her up. I said, and they have beaten her up. Finish, he said, and they have beat her. He said, because when I saw my sister, she was trying to pretend as if nothing happened, not that they have injured her already with knife. I said, "What happened to you now? Look at your back." He said, "My sister, now wetin mother-in-law do me be this. She said she will give me mark before I will leave. Now she have stabbed me. Look at my back." I said, "I'm going to stab your mother-in-law back. If it takes to kill her in this house, I will kill her before I will take you out of this house." And immediately the husband heard what I said. He ran upstairs. He said, I beg, I've not gotten to that. I said, "I've not gotten to that, but you're in your life. Your mother have injured my." Where was the house? That was what I asked him. "Where were you when this thing happened?" He said they locked him in the bedroom when he was bathing. He was bathing when they locked him in the bathroom and started beating up my sister. So now, in this case now, what do you want me to do? Because going back to Port Harcourt, I'm going to arrest him to bring the mother and the sisters, then pack my sister out of the marriage. That is why I went to your church. I thought the program is in your church before they describe here for more. So that is why I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Wow. Sometimes when we bring out a practical situation, I will allow Reverend Onome to answer.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much for sharing that story. You see, in fact, that case is an hopeless case that needs to be addressed. Anything violence even between husband and wife is not acceptable. Do you understand? No talk about mother-in-law coming to harass the wife. You understand? And that was how I wanted to react to the issue of nobody has a mother-in-law does not, even as much as we respect mother-in-laws, you understand, they are mothers to us. They don't have, marriage is between the husband and the wife. No sentiments about that. So there's no issue about he came to snatch what I invested over the years. That was what I wanted to react to. If you have that kind of attitude, you will not give your children peace in their marriages. If you have that kind of mindset as a mother to say, "Hey, this, I labored, like me, I have 3 sons, for goodness sake." I can't be thinking of
You understand? I was reacting to somebody yesterday. I said, I'm praying to be that mother-in-law where I will go to my son's house. And when I'm leaving, my daughter-in-law will be crying that, Mama, you are leaving. Mama, don't go. I will so pamper her. You understand? Not to pamper her to the point where I don't correct her mistakes, but I do it in love. It's not a war zone. Marriage is not supposed to be a war zone where we prepare for war. And that's what is happening in this case. Please, I will beg you, don't take laws into your hands in the first place. Arrest that mother-in-law. You understand? Because if you don't do this, whether you like it or not, violence is already taking place. And by the time we abort violence, are you getting it? It's just a matter of time. You will hear that this person is rest in peace. So we will not encourage that. We will report this to the law enforcement agency. Take note of it. Even if as a family we end up settling it. But I think it should be on record. If it's on record, it will create fear in the hearts of as many partners that are involved in this crime, because this is already a crime. For you to carry a knife and stab, that means you can kill. Do you understand? So report the issue. Don't take laws into your hand. Don't kill her. And don't ever say that, because that's a threat already. And if it is picked up too, you are going to be in soup. But report the situation, whether they settle at the end of the day or not, or whether your sister decides to walk away from the marriage or not. Please report to the respected authorities. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's applaud Reverend Onome. I want to ask, after the husband came out of the bathroom where he was locked, what did he do? What did he do? Then secondly, did you leave your sister there? They've stabbed her. She should have left first.
Yes, she's no longer in the house now.
Okay.
But when, according to my sister, she said when they finished beating her, the mother-in-law now opened the door and tell the husband, can you recognize your wife again?
Jesus.
Was asking the son, if you see your wife, can you recognize her again? And the husband now said, why? I will recognize my husband. They now brought her. See all her body, blood don't full, and you go not say now your wife be this one again. The husband now said, yes, this is my husband. Even if you people want to kill her, she's my wife. I recognize my wife. But what you people did, the mother now said, I'll carry breast for you. I will lay curse on you if you support her. So after that was when I now carried my sister. I said, okay, leave there, go to your pastor's house for now. Let me go home and report the case. Because my sister is not that type that do talk. And I went home to report this case to my parents. So now, but tomorrow I'll be going to Port Harcourt with my mother. I don't know, they are still there. They are still in Port Harcourt. They are not yet back.
Looks like he has no say. And, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Please heed to the advice you have been given.
Please, my is anything you will decide here now, that is going to be my
Yes.
what I will do. So anything you say now, I will apply it. That was why I said I must come for this show.
Yes.
Okay. So what I see from this your story, thank you. I want to thank Reverend Mrs. Jebba. These things, when she organizes them, just like she said, it looks like a joke. But she's actually solving the problems of people. I see a very helpless man who is being manipulated. That's what's happening. Because when you say to a man who has children that you will swear for the man with your breast, that one, I'm not moved. You can't swear for me. You know, so I see a helpless man who is being manipulated, and probably he has been manipulated from when it was small to, because how can you lock me in my own bedroom, in my own house? I don't understand. Anyways, you see the vex. I don't the vex. Anyways, what I would just advise is this. Okay, before I answer your question, please, young men here who are not married, I beg, I want to plead with you because this is real. Learn to have a say. Learn to be steadfast. No. The scripture says that your no should be no and your yes should be yes. Learn to tell people no and yes. If I'm not going to say, will not see a mother who will come into his house and lock him up and say, I will swear for you with my breast. That one doesn't make any sense. But madam,
what I'll just say is this: you've removed your sister from the house. That woman, for me as a person, there must be a repercussion for every action. So, if the man said to be arrested, yes, if you take that case to the police and they ask the man, what were you doing? How did they bundle you and throw you in the bedroom and lock you? They beat your wife. You couldn't break the door. You stayed there. They beat your wife. Then you came out. Then they asked you question. Then you were now walking. Then you went to wash car. It's not making it happy. I don't even understand. The story itself is so. I would, if it was me, I will arrest the whole family. So I will arrest the whole family first. And the reason why I arrest the whole family is because of my sister. Because people who can do that can still come later and attack her. So what will happen is that there will be a desist order where they will say, if anything happens to this lady, we will hold you.
Yes, they'll be made to sign.
Yeah, no, they're made to sign an undertaking that if anything happens, even though fly or mosquito bites her, we are coming to carry you. That will first create fear. Then, I don't know, the Bible says we should not support divorce, but this kind of marriage now, what will I advise? Because it's even looking like divorce. Serious.
Mr. Sylvester, the thing is, I don't think it has, because the issue is actually not between the man and the woman.
Oh, the wife, okay.
It's
All right.
actually between the woman and the mother-in-law. What were discussing.
Yeah, okay.
And the sisters-in-law. So,
True.
when it is resolved, I think they will come together again as husband and wife. Yeah, thank you so much.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I wanted to say that there is, to what our sister have just explained, there's more to it than what she have explained now. I think what she have explained now is just the surface. There is the bottom line. Something must have happened. Number one, is this marriage actually conducted in agreement with both families? Because when you are talking about mother-in-law, you are talking about somebody who you have accepted to become your mother. Is your mother by law. And for her to become your mother by law, the family must have been in agreement with the relationship that is to be established. Praise the Lord. So if there was no agreement at the initial time, and then these people just ignore the family and just come together, things like this are bound to happen. So there must be something that must have gone wrong. If not, except the mother-in-law is crazy. If not, the mother-in-law cannot just go into the house of the son-in-law.
So some of them could be crazy.
And the wife have just delivered and then go there with violence. So there's more to it, which her sister need to really find out, and then let them find solution to it. Praise the Lord.
Thank you very much, sir. What we'll do after the show, I think we'll need to have a conversation with you. But even though there could be something beneath, like our daddy just said, but it is not a yardstick for them to abuse her to that extent. Not to even abuse her at all. So we'll have a conversation with you at the end of the show. Okay?
I still want to talk on the just contribution, please, on my mother-in-law issue. Okay? Yes, the mother-in-law issue. I'm going to be citing examples from my own experiences and also general examples. Yes, apart from extreme cases like the one we are just hearing now, that is on the extreme side. And then there are other cases that may not be on the extreme. And then we also know that this is Africa, this is Nigeria. We know the tradition. It's usually the man or the men having the upper hand in the home. And of course, like one of our panelists said, it also, kind of relates to the mother-in-law having that superior power over the son or over the home For instance, I had a case long time ago where, the mother-in-law, said to my face that my home belongs to my husband's niece. What? This is a niece, not a daughter, not a sister.
That's your home.
Yes.
Belongs to.
Yes. That this is a home. So, of course, I replied that, of course, it's not. And that gave her effrontery to challenge me.
That's the niece now.
Yes. So, and I just looked at her. I laughed. I said, well, you will have your own home. I'm glad you are a woman. You will have your own home someday. And I left it there. So what am I saying? But then, what I want to say here, for our sisters, our younger women, and our men that are going into marriage, one thing before you go into marriage, you must make up your mind that this marriage I'm about to enter, I want it to work. Like one of our panelists also said, look at the environment you find yourself. The mother-in-law, the sister-in-laws, the people that are your husband's kinsmen. Look at them. Can you fit yourself in? Before you go into the marriage, can you fit yourself in? Or can you believe God that God will help you? Sometimes we don't really see into the future. So you have to have that positive mindset that, okay, God, I'm sure you can help me. I'll be able to fit into this home. Then try and get some facts too about their background, how they have lived in the past and all that, before you just jump into, a marriage. Because if there are some very aggressive reactions in that family, they will definitely extend it to you. So you just have to, do that. And then another aspect, you have gotten into the marriage. Initially in my early stage of marriage, I was like, oh, complain. And one of my elder sister came to me and said, okay, before or during the marriage process, complaints came from nowhere, out of the blues. Some people cooked up some stories, and that thing got into the hearts of my in-laws, and they were using it to watch. So this lady, she's like this. No, they had that mindset about me due to what they heard,
The stories they were told.
and at a point, my elder sister came to me and said, what you can do, prove them wrong. And I ran with that in my marriage. I ran with that word. And to the glory of God, at the end of the day, they found out it was not so. As I'm speaking to you right now, over 25 or 26 years of marriage now, by the grace of God. In fact, my in-laws, they call me First Lady, by the grace of God. It's not by my power. And apart from First Lady, they tell me to my face that I am the favored. There's a word they use, in our language, and they say I'm the favored, the best. What did I do? I just studied the whole thing, studied the family. I decided that, okay, I'm not going to get in the way of anybody.
Certain.
I won't get in the way of my mother-in-law. I won't get in the way of my sister-in-laws. I won't get in the way of my brother-in-laws. I just kept my lane as a wife to my husband. And then when I need to relate with my in-laws, I do that respectfully. And of course, we are not staying in the same house. So when
No matter how long they visit, they must leave.
to my home, I become the madam in your home. And I know how I oversee and run things in my home. Then another aspect that our girls need to, getting angry, Ali, I was like looking at them, even though initially some of them came, confronted me, made me want to look, but over time, have come to love them, and they too have come to love me.
That's right.
So, but what I want
So sacrifices on both parts, especially on your part.
Yes, what I want to point here is our ladies, our women or daughters, be patient, one.
Exactly.
Then give benefits of doubts. Then also, don't, when it's not your business, don't poke into,
For goodness sake.
affairs. There are some issues, there are some issues there are some issues that is just the son and between your husband and his family. There are some issues that is just there.
Your husband can come and gist you later in the bedroom.
Fine. But if he does not tell you, yes, out. Mind yourself, because there are times you involve in all those things, and if they find out, they could even be offended and they will take it on you. So just, face your own. You have a duty in that home. Your duty is towards your husband, majorly. It's towards your husband.
That's right.
Then, in relating with your in-laws, of course, do it respectfully and, of course, with the fear of God. And then sure that
Very much.
a lot of all these in-law issues,
Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, son-in-law
is
issues.
very minimal.
Yes. Thank you so much. Please, let's up. That is a very, very wonderful call. Very, very brief, please. Thank you so much. Mine is a contribution. I thank God for this opportunity to be here. There were questions I kept asking God for some time, but I thank God that over the years and then what I went through, I got answers. So what I want to contribute is concerning the issue of mother-in-law, daughter-in-law. The fact is there are mother-in-laws that are very difficult, very, very difficult to please. When I entered marriage, I entered with a free mind. Like, I was naive of some of the things. I was a free person looking at the fact that I'm an orphan. So when I entered, the first year, the second year, things were going okay. And then later on, a lot of things started coming up. I was like, where are they coming from? She did this, she did this, she did this. And then I think that's where the issue of the man should draw the line. My husband is on the quiet side. He does not talk. And then as time went on, I was always blamed for everything. And then I noticed he wasn't the type that talks. And then, I began feeling for him because he was on a crossroad. He didn't want to offend me. He didn't want to offend the mother, And then I think last year, I got tired. I told God, I said, God, I'm backing out. Mommy said something. I withdrew. I kept my distance. So I cut off from everybody. I greet them. I call once in a while, or maybe when they are talking with their grandkids, I say, okay, let me say hi to mom. Let me say hi to dad, but I cut off because the cousins, the sisters, my husband is the only son. Yes. So I don't know. She's being possessive because when we got married newly, she called his name. She said, initially you hold my hand to pray with me, but you no longer do that. I was like, when you talk, I said, you now have a wife, So the truth is that there are some mother-in-laws that are very, very, when I mean very, very difficult to please. I could remember before my husband got the job he's right on with now, she said something. She's supposed to hold my hand, said, okay, my daughter-in-law, come, let's pray. This thing has lingered for a while, but the words that came out from her mouth, she was like, she has been praying and fasting, but nothing has happened. And I went back to God. I said, God, she's mocking you. She's not mocking me. And then I think barely 2 months later, he got the job. And thank God for that. So another important thing, our mommy said something, anything that does not concern you, because that's actually what I also adopt.
if they will do it, go and finish it up with your people. I don't want to be involved. Because something happened and then she said I was one. That was the first time after like 10 years in marriage. I now opened up. I said, when we came for the meeting, I said, okay, this is it. I clarified the whole stuff. And then they felt I was being disrespectful. So after that, I decided because you spoke out. Yes, I spoke your mind. Because over the years, they keep saying, I did it. And then there were times that they'll call for, I call it panel, because whenever we're there on holiday, they will always call. So I always call a community meeting for you. So, I was like, when I said, this time I have to speak because she said an insulting word that hurt me. She said, it's our people that will be ashamed, not us. Moreover, she refused to change her name. Is her father's name is still on her name. You understand? So I felt bad. And then I clarified the whole stuff. And then from that moment on, they felt I'm being disrespectful. But most importantly, what I want to point out here is, in all this, be with an open mind. Because even when I told God, I said, God, I am tired of this issue. I want to keep them at a distance. And that was when God spoke, because I had so many places. I was longing for such programs like this. But it's not too late. And then just after I got my answer, God said, and from out of those situations, because, I went, the pain was too much. Out of that, and now when God gave me a burden for women going through such kind of things, God gave me that burden to be praying for them, because there are many women out there that cannot open up. They can't open up to people because, they are scared, I don't want to say it, or I don't want to say it to somebody that will go back and then tell them, you understand. And then from there, so know that Selman said something, Apostle Selman said that there are people you need to forgive, but there are people you need to forbear with.
That's right.
So from that, I got a point, and God said, I'm crushing you and I'm using that oil so that you'll be able to teach those that are coming after you. So
Thank you very much.
Just right. Pick a lesson from it. Thank you so much.
Okay, I want to say this.
Incidentally, I was having a conversation with one of our partners with mother-in-law and so on and so forth. And I said to her what you just said, that some of these things God allows us to go through is to train us, right? It's to train us. And then when you have younger women go through stuff like this, you have something to say. You have something to counsel them. And overall, it all boils down to prayers. Whatever the challenges are, we remember that we are Christians. We can always take it to God in prayers, like she just mentioned. So the last one, please promise me you're going to be brief.
Years ago, I want to just be brief. To the extent that she called me and said I should come quick, that the husband is asking her to pack out of the home. I said, why? He said, please, be fast and come. Myself and my husband, we hurried there, and we saw that he has ruined some of her things. Said, let her be going. I appealed to this young man. He's not my age. They are still together very well now. I begged and begged and begged. The tears came out of my eyes. He said she has to go, that she's not respectful. So I called my friend. I said, go on your knees. Beg your husband. Apologize to him. She did all that. She was pregnant, heavily pregnant. And then I saw the situation, it brought tears to my eyes. I said, I beg him. I said, please, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? The last time she was pregnant at this kind of stage, people had misunderstanding. You sent her out of the house and she lost her baby in her mother's place. This same time again, I'm bringing to let us know that in marriages, the place of prayer is very important. Then this same time again, she's like that age again in pregnancy, he said she should go. Tears came out of my eyes because I was taken aback. I remembered. I said, you are my junior. I would kneel down for you. He said, no. When he saw the way I was going, tears on my eyes, he said, please, you know why I'm doing this. Let her go because my mom and my sisters will soon come.
Oh.
My mom and my sister, I said, what are you saying? He said, please, can you people take her to your house? He said, they're feeling sorry for her, but she must go at that time. He said, they will come here and pack her things out and throw them away. You can see that kind of manipulation, control. So I said, okay. Can we take her to my house? I don't want her to go to her house. That thing that happened last time, she does not want to go there. Can I take her to my? I said, yes, I can take her. By grace of God, I took her to my home. In that situation brought her to become a pastor, a bishop of herself. Every night, this lady will not sleep. In the sitting room, praying and crying, praying and calling God. This is somebody that is my colleague and friend. In school, when I'm talking something, say, I've been on now. They do Christianity like that, and they do and read that stage. She became a pastor, a bishop of herself. Program, she will go for reading program and the rest. She stayed in my house, like, I can say almost like 3 months. But God intervened. Today, 2 of them are like this. You cannot separate them. Praise the Lord. She and the husband. And grown-up children. Christ came in. The another situation I will do quickly. Mother-in-law, no matter how it is, you're a human being. Let us have the mindset that I'm going into that marriage to succeed. My mom told me when I was going, you know, go there, go cause confusion between your husband and his brother, or and your husband and his sister. Go there and make things work. So when I got there, that one guided me. When I saw things, I said, I studied them. I said, this one is not an easy person. Let me see how to handle. This one is very close with my husband. Once they are together, give them chance. They are like, you'll be jealous sometimes, you feel it.
That's right.
But you have to bear it. Because I've been told, how do I break into them? I had to try my best. A friend of mine did that so much that she and the mother-in-law became so close that even the houses that the mother-in-law had in this town, she was all collecting rentage and bringing it to the mother-in-law. To the extent that the husband said, I'm there, you are asking my wife to go and collect the money. Even the sisters will call the mother-in-law say, wait, concern her. Now the person who I like, we go collect my money, now go collect her. So she does not have this kind of story. The mother-in-law comes to do a mugo for her when she delivers. And when the mother-in-law is going, she's crying. Mama, are you going now? Mama, are you going now? That's the relationship. We can get it. On our knees, everything is possible. Praise the Lord.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. I'm sure we have learned a lot today, true of all the contributions that came from the audience. Thank you so much for coming to share your time with us. The truth is, mother-in-laws, daughter-in-laws, mother-in-laws, and sons-in-laws can have a very good relationship. Yes. So for us as young ladies or young men, let's make efforts. Let's do our parts. Gradually, the mindset of the mother-in-law will begin to what? To change. You know, you may not be lucky to get some good mother. In fact, most of them are troublesome. Most mother-in-laws are troublesome, but you have to make some adjustments in your mind, make efforts to sweeten the relationship, and above all, be prayerful. And the Lord will give us wisdom to glide through in Jesus' name. It has been a very wonderful time, and this is the Fortune Jebba's show. Please be kind to follow us on social media, on all social media platforms. Like our page, share our stories or the information on the page. Give us your comments, and we will truly, truly appreciate you. This is how we end the 3rd edition of the Fortune Jebba's show.
This round, your passionate, ladies.